Okay, as we're doing these moon through the houses, I just clearly it's quite good to go through the indications of the moon first. And remember, moon becomes mature in astrological world around 24, 25. So the indications for the moon get better. We get to normally when a planet matures, that's when we really utilize its indications quite well, and obviously every planet rules a house. So moon rules Cancer, and so it's always good to look at Cancer as well and see what's going on in Cancer. It doesn't matter what house it turns out to be for you, but it's a good idea. It gives you some sort of indications, because whatever house it falls into, that's the house you like to kind of connect to. Makes you feel good, and wherever moon is the action required in order to use that. So let's do that. So moon obviously indicates mother, any form of vehicle as well, your car and your home environment, your home. It's your emotional and mental health, how we connect emotionally to others, how stable and secure we feel, and our feelings, how we are, our memories, our happiness, and the capacity to be happy. And so these are very fundamental things about moon. Okay, so now we're going to do moon in the 6th house. So 6th house is an Upachaya house. It's also a Dushtana house. So this anything to do with 6th house is going to be a bit challenging. It's going to push us a little bit. But through those difficulties, obstacles, challenges, we do grow. And this house does get better with time, because we find out, basically, Sage Gemini says something very, it's quite good to know. So intelligence is not necessarily just 5th house, it's also 6th house, because by using your intelligence you learn how to overcome and deal with issues of the world, of your life. And because it is a house of Mercury, where you're dealing with life, daily routines, things like that. So if you go towards those things haphazardly, without thinking, without using your intelligence and intellect, then it's everything can be quite overwhelming. So it's actually, if used properly, this can be a really, really good house. It's good for all. We all have it in our chart, no matter how rich we are or how poor we are, or how so this is where by using the 6th house really well, it can transform your life. So rather than dreading it, it's really good to actually think about it as an Upachaya house rather than a Dushtana house. And normally in Vedic astrology, they like to have a malefic planet dealing with the 6th house, because obviously it's going to have the what you call like the vigor, the will, and the energy to keep pushing. Obstacles, just keep pushing. So now you have a very, very gentle planet dealing with 6th house stuff. So in order to deal with it, it's really good to really work on the moon, because it's not bad. When you have a soft planet in the 6th house, it's probably not, you're not going to attract that many enemies. And so how to use this and what it indicates, let's discuss them. So 6th house is divorce and discord, disease, disharmony, debt, obstacles, enemies. It's your mother's siblings, because it's 3rd from 3rd. Actually, no, your siblings' happiness. Sorry, and your service, daily routine, health, healing, how you manage yourself. It's things to do with. Obviously, we're discussing also a moon that's not conjunct with a planet is not, it's not, hasn't got any malefic aspects or conjunctions with it, or benefic, things like that. It's also like, this is like, sixth house is analysis, it's like information, and so now you have like a really soft planet dealing with all these quite major things in life, because it's trying to sort of plan your life, and deal with life. So now the first thing is, it gets better when Moon matures around about 24 years of age, and also Sun Upachaya house, that again is supportive of that too. And also remember, in every dasha, Moon is not necessarily in the sixth house. You are reading your chart from the dasha, make that the ascendant as well. So every dasha will be different as well. So let's do it. So obviously, sixth house of the natural zodiac is Virgo. So Virgo is a sign that will put all the information together logically, and uses intellect to plan and deal with things. So it's not going to be, and it's also earth sign as well, so it's quite grounded. And Moon is a watery planet, so it's not actually, it's not grounded at all. So it's just, Moon always waxes and wanes as well, so it's just like, it's conflicting a little bit. However, if you use properly, this is when water and earth mix, it creates things. So this is one thing you have to sort of also see about this. And on the negative thing, it could be a mind that's constantly critical of things. So when he looks at something, looks at all the sort of like negativity first before he sees the positivity. But so he doesn't see the big picture. He just gets overwhelmed by the small picture, and he's just always trying to micromanage things. So and depending, like, so for example, it can, you don't want to have like micromanage your children, like micromanage your partner, and so it can be, you got to kind of, when you look at this, just think that what part of your life are you micromanaging, and are you then, because it's difficult to micromanage people, because people have got will, they've got their own mind, they've got their own path in life, so you don't want to be interfering with that. So it's very important to get your mind to be focused on things that are just it's good for you as well. So you need to it's getting microscopic with detail, and sees everything as like an enormous obstacle, enormous challenging thing. So it really needs to just like look at it and then manage it like Mercury. And obviously Mercury and Moon don't get on very well, so it's already, there's an issue, another issue, as well as the fact that there's a soft planet there. So we need to like really simplify it in order to manage it really well. Once you work with these energies, though, you find that there are simple remedies that you can just like literally help you. So this Moon is like a nurturing planet. It rules Cancer naturally. So when you are kind of not so involved in your own head and in your own life, and you concentrate that by doing what is actually fundamentally service to do with sixth house and work, then it actually is really, really profound. The changes in them will be amazing, because also Moon is aspect in the 12th house, and 12th house is a charitable house where you just like, you're being selfless and you just like give in, and there's no expectations whatsoever. So kind stuff will really help this. And the other thing is as well, Virgo is all about being organized and having a plan, having that you action. And so list making will be really important to these people, and dealing with life, like that, you know, logically going, well, logic is actually Mars, but intellectually planning, you know, using your mind to really work on that. So for them, it's really important to have structure to their day. Without structure, it can like be very floaty and too fluid, you know, and this is like a earth sign, so you need to have structure. And also there's if there is no structure, they can, you know, so they can actually lose their energy, you know, that's they can achieve nothing, and that can really put them back again. So it's very important to do that. So it's very important to be organized. So exercising will be good for them as well, because that's just manages their energy levels. They're doing something sixth house. So sixth house is healing, you know, exercise. It's health, you know, house of health. And so eating well, thinking well, and doing well would do them a world of good. And then so also resting is really important, because it's aspect in 12th house. So it's really important to rest well in order to regenerate the mind as well. Very important too. And also it's house of bed pleasures as well. So maybe either meditating or having intimacy time as well before you go to bed, you know, that'll be good too. But it's also house of addictions as well. So it's very important to manage yourself, you know, make sure during the day you're active, moving, because, you know, this is a mercurial house naturally. So that you're actually doing that in order to be able to exert enough energy so you can actually rest well and sleep well. And, you know, moon is fickle as well. So you almost like have to take control of it in order to have a really good life, because you don't want to be dealing with addictions and habits that are not habits and things will be just the worst thing really. So it's really good to just be able to pull back from there. It's also your mother's health, you know, because moon being your mother as well. And it's also how you're going to be a mother too. So you want to just have a really good control over this in order to be able to fulfill all of those yourself. And by just managing it really well, you're digesting, because it's also sixth house is digestive system. And it's not just digestive system in terms of food, but it's digesting information, digesting life, relationships, things like that. It's literally ability to digest, dissect all the things that are coming at us all day, every day are part of it. And as this is like, obviously we're talking house of digestion, house of health and healing. So moon there can give you anxiety and worry unnecessarily. So you need to have like a really, you know, one of the really important things about Vedic astrology is the way it actually embraces the whole Vastu. So it's very important to realize that for you, actually, you know, if you manage your mind well, you will not hoard things, hoard stuff, or hoard feelings that hold you back as well. So digestive, you know, like eating will be very important, like fasting, intermittent fasting. I love that. I've been doing that for like 3 years now, and it's really is a good thing. It works for me really well. You know, doing detoxes, using a spa, all of those things, you know, like having a massage, like to detox your system. You know, don't let the mind kind of control your food. Don't emotionally eat, you know, that kind of thing. Be logical, have order. Order is really important for this. And dealing with things then and there. Don't wait for things to just build. And so, you know, and we want to use the mind to work for us rather than work against us. So it's important to do workouts, exercise, keep moving. You know, it's Mercury and Moon together. So, you know, meditation, Pilates, yoga, Tai Chi, walking, just keeping the mind sort of in a positive line, walking particularly in fields and countryside and things like that would be very, very good, because it's very mercurial as well, so you help in that as well. Because otherwise, if it's left stagnant energy, it can become really overthinking things, can become a little bit like too perfectionist, like I know people, for example, is like slightly, I'm not saying this is, this is in a really bad way. If it's really, sixth house or moon are really, this position, if it's really compromised, it can be somebody who's got OCD. So they could literally be really obsessed about cleaning their property, because obviously this house is cleaning. And they have to do it methodically in a particular way. But if they get disturbed, they can't just pick up where they left off. They have to start again and cleaning the area that they've already cleaned. So there's no progress in a sense. So you need to just literally be one step ahead. Use this is House of Intelligence, so you want to really use it to provide you things, and really helping and supporting other people, particularly females, because obviously Moon represents that. It's really, really good for everything, to just move this thing forward. And it's also a service and being thankful, like for example, if you're in a cafe or restaurant, tipping and speaking really nicely to the people who are serving you, bus drivers, refuse collectors, street sweepers, homeless people as well, because it's actually aspect in 12th house, and just animal shelters. So if you want to just like do some voluntary work, helping underprivileged people, hospitals, all that kind of stuff, and get out of the being in your head kind of thing, and actually more action. And then also the other thing is as well, all of that will just put the mind and really sort of positive, nurturing road, and you're not going to be self-critical, and because this is a house all about improvement, moving forward, progressing, taking control of your life in a sense. It is honestly if you start using sixth house, it's such a good house. It really does. You undo all those knots of life and start moving forward. Because obviously, what's the second house from that? Is seventh house. Where you walk into relationships without that critical mind, with abundance of energy. You're healthy. It creates wonderful connections. Really think about this. Think about, like, in terms of like second houses from that. You gain so much from just working in this house. It gives you a good relationship with others, good business relationship, and work as well. And so this is literally emotionally based health issues. You don't want to be a hypochondriac. You don't want to be dealing, because Mercury rules herbs and plants. So try to really, really think, and I'm not going to say Google, I'm going to say research. Use different types of search engines and actually just research supplements and plants and things that are going to be like beneficial to you. I might actually do a series on plants and nakshatras, because that will really might help. So if I don't forget. Anyway, so it's like literally stepping out of your mind and taking control, but remembering that service is everything. And if you use this properly, you're not going to get enemies, you're not going to get obstacles, you're not going to deal with debts and health issues, all of that kind of stuff. Even divorce, you might get the discord, but you'll be able to sort it out. You might get like the disease, but you'll be able to heal yourself, because you know that your mind and Mercury, like your sixth house, and also look at your own sixth house as well, because it might not be, it might not be Virgo, obviously, depending on the ascendant, and you can problem solve, because this is this is the fundamental thing about this house, is problem solving. And you can solve your own issues, and what an amazing mind, because this is house of work as well. So you could become a healer, a scientist, a doctor, nutritionist, a lawyer, all of those sort of things. This can really lead to so many amazing things. I mean, obviously it depends on your own personal chart, but let's now look at different ascendants and how it actually impacts the house. So for Aries ascendant, this is obviously very applicable to you, because it's Virgo and the moon. So it just means that because also don't forget that Mercury rules the third house, and so this would be like their fourth house ruler moon in the sixth house. So they can either have a critical mother, critical mind, or they're critical of their mum as well. We can be whoever is and so this is also they could just be a little bit create obstacles that are more in the mind, and friends can be, they can have discord with friends and things like that, and they can have issues because obviously Mercury is not friendly with Mars, the ruler of Aries, so they can literally their friends can become enemies, their neighbors can become their enemies, their siblings can become their enemies. Their speech can cause them issues. Not really planning and not thinking properly can cause them, they can suddenly sign a loan or agreement or something like that and get themselves into debt. So that kind of thing can be arguing with females. So they just got to learn to choose well, and pick fights, pick worthwhile, in fighting and picking fights with people. You want to always pick good. What is the point of putting energy into wars that you're going to lose? You're going to lose. What's the point? So just always kind of come from worthwhile things. And also the other thing is as well, this is Mercury sign and it's an earth sign. I always find you got to just be careful, because you can either have your friends can be or your mother can be jealous of you, or you could be jealous of friends, things like that as well, depending on Mercury. So it's earth signs can be, particularly if they're to do with Mercury, can have a jealousy element as well, so be aware of that. Are you being jealous? Are they being jealous of you? So just that kind of thing, and just work with it. This is, I always think, if you feel like there's a jealousy element and people are being unkind because they're coming from a place of lack and they pushing it on you, protect your heart chakra, because moon obviously rules the emotional heart. So be aware of that. But just pick your fights and don't waste your energy on things like that. So for Taurus, their sixth house, their first house ruler Venus also rules their sixth house. So they can become their own obstacle, their own enemy, cause their own issues and things like that. So they need to really look at the bigger picture. So that would be they could have female enemies as well, because obviously Venus rules their sixth house, and work. You can get enemies at work, and so things like that. So and they could be a little bit too much of service to other people, where they're putting themselves out too much for other people, and they feel as though people can be ungrateful, because obviously their sixth house is the seventh natural house of the zodiac, or their partner. So it's other people, and but if they didn't ask for it, why did you go and do that? You got to ask these questions. Did they ask you, and are you feeling that resentment, or did you cause that? So, honestly, astrology is so amazing. It just makes us really think about that. So for Gemini, there's moon. And also for Taurus is moon rules their third house, so their siblings can become their enemies, and third house stuff can get them issues as well. So you want to just think, you know, how did I communicate, or did I get illness, digestive issues, and health issues because I wasn't really exercising, I wasn't moving, or I was too stagnant. And this is like the house of hobbies, really. Moon rules hobbies and interests and friends. So maybe through that you could actually improve your health through research. And because third house is obviously third house of natural zodiac is Gemini. So research and find out more about your health issues. Remember always to use different search engines as well. I always think that, because I think sometimes some of them can be a little bit biased. So yes, intelligently, this is, you know, sixth house of intelligence. So now Gemini, Mars rules obviously their sixth house, so it's already, there's a conflict there. Moon rules their second house. So second house ruler, so family, so this is the family and money values going into, and also Moon is debilitated in the sixth house. So it could be that issues with families, not really working things out, because obviously Mars is quite impulsive, and so it's Mercury has gone into, Moon has gone into, the mind is now gone into, like, so there's just like holding on to too many things in the head in order to deal with this house, you know, this effects of this. So it's like mother can become an enemy, mother can have illnesses, mother can have debts, mother's health can create debts for you and all of that. So, and it's also all those kind of emotional things to do with, because obviously Scorpio hoards things, can't let things go. So it's really important to let go of emotional trauma that was caused maybe in early life in order to move forward. And you can do this, you know, because Mars at the end of the day is a little fighter, and it will support Moon. And, you know, Moon and Mars can work well together. I know it's debilitated there, but it's more in the head than real. So you can intelligently navigate through this. Then we have for Cancer ascendant. Cancer ascendant will be like, for example, it'll be First Lord in the sixth house. So you yourself, again, creating issues there to do with health issues. So again, you've got to look at your approach to things and see how you can help that. And obviously, it's Sagittarius is their Jupiter and Moon work well together, so you can actually, there isn't that much like friction there to deal with these things, so you can easily do that. And you can actually, because also Jupiter rules your ninth house, so by wisdom, using wisdom and getting help from your dad and everything, you can navigate that. It could also be like, you know, your mom can have like issues with that kind of thing as well. And yeah, so it's easier because the two planets work well together rather than actually constricting each other. And yeah, and then we have Leo. So for Leo will be the 12th house ruler in the 6th house, which creates like a Viparit Raja Yoga. So it can be dealt with, but obviously just remembering that Moon is quite a delicate planet. And its Moon is going into Saturn's sign now. So it's already, that mind is almost like too rigid, and also Saturn can bring anxiety and stress and fear into Moon as well. So this is where you really got to sort of work, because it's not in a friendly sign. So you have to really work on this to get it working. And you know, it does grow better, definitely, but it's, you really got to tap into also your own needs and deal with this really well. It's from there, obviously Moon is aspecting your 12th house own sign as well, so it's protecting that house too. So it's not really So it's very important to actually regenerate through good, try and sleep well, try and, that's actually going to help that quite a bit. But try and make sure you don't overspend, don't get yourself into a situation where you're getting addicted to substances or escapism, to do that. But it actually can be quite good if you work at this quite well. It's also the natural 10th house of the zodiac, and brings work, service and career together. So it can be tremendous in terms of achievements. It could give you a governmental job, but you can kind of climb the ranks through this, because Capricorn is naturally elevates you in your workplace as well. But you just got to really keep up to into that. It could also be that you work in a hospital as well, because Moon will be aspecting the 12th house of nurture and all that kind of stuff as well, which is Cancer. But so just be aware of that kind of thing. You could also go abroad as well, work abroad, work in a hospital, that kind of thing as well. But it obviously can give mum issues as well that you need to look into. But we all need to work at Moon, because Moon also rules assets, liquid assets as well. So the moment you work on your mind, on your mum, money comes in for you. It's just almost guaranteed. So if Moon was in Virgo, then it's your 11th house ruler in the 6th house for Virgo. 11th house. So this will be in Aquarius. So it's again, Moon is not in a friendly sign. It has got that Saturnian thing again, where there's a kind of lack, a little bit of coldness going on. But it's much more because 11th house of natural zodiac is Aquarius. It's quite a humanitarian thing. They tend to sort of like being in groups as well. So friends can help this as well. So you can actually really sort of work in organizations that are charitable. They just like can see like they have a vision together, if you like, and so it's very service oriented in order to do the better things for work and stuff like that as well. But it's also this being the natural 11th house of the zodiac, is like the service that you put into the community. You can kind of get certifications for it, accolades for it, recognition for it as well. So this could be really, really good for lawyers and doctors and healers and things like that too. And so if we go then to the sort of like the Libra ascendant, the 11th house ruler will be the Sun. So, the 6th house ruler for them, for Libra ascendant, will be Pisces. So, it'll be Jupiter. So, there's like an issue there with the two planets being like not working so well together now. So, because they both have a different agenda. And Jupiter makes things expandable as well. But it's a natural 12th house of the zodiac. So for these people, for Libra ascendant, Moon rules their 10th house. So they are very, very caring, very giving souls. They can have intuition ish, sort of like they can have like they can be very psychic as well. Moon in Pisces will be a beautiful place and very caring, hugely caring, and they will be in jobs that are to do with science and doctors and all those kind of things. But it could be a clairvoyancy, or they could just be like fantastic nurses, because it's natural 12th house of the zodiac. So it'd be quite caring, midwives, things, nursing, care workers, service, it will be really, but they will have such an open heart to give. And what will happen is also, obviously Moon is now going into a friendly sign, although it's 6th house is not, it's a difficult house for for Libra ascendants just because they don't get on. But actually, in terms of their 10th Lord Moon going into their 6th house, these people can actually earn good money as well, and it becomes like a career, and they can become like consultants and things as well after they've had their job and service and everything. They can become quite well known for their job too. And then if you go to Scorpio ascendant, their 6th house is ruled by themselves, and so when Moon goes there, it's the 9th house ruler going into Moon goes into this 6th house. So 6th house will be like Moon and bring Moon and Mars together, so Aries. So they'll be very like their mind will be very quite impulsive, because it's, you know, it's a house of Mars, and it's going for things, you know. It's so they could be quite pioneering in a sense, and they could like they are quite motivated to do their own things as well. But yeah, this could be quite good in the sense that, you know, 9th house ruler, their father can be quite an active person. They could it brings quite like they could do work in like service places where or the father can be poorly as well in that sense, or there could be things to do with, they could actually be working in places of worship, temples and things like that as well. So that brings those two together. But this is not really a bad thing, because Moon and Mars, they neutrally work together quite well, really. So, and then we have Sagittarius ascendant, so Venus rules their 6th house, bit of, you know, so for these people, their 8th house ruler will be in the 6th house, so it'd be like Moon will be exalted in their 6th house, so it's really good for their mind to actually, because it's another kind of Raja Yoga, and it actually elevates the Moon in a sense as well, so it's good for the Moon. However, again, it's Dushtana house lord, so Moon is, you know, you really need to just be really open to service, and actually know that really good daily routines and everything is good, but also realize that you have to embrace change. Change is good, and through change, nice things will happen. And yes, that can be quite good placement. So for them, for Capricorn ascendant, their 6th house is actually Gemini. So this is where for them, 7th house ruler will be in the 6th house. So there could be discord or divorce or something like that, you know. So their kind of way of communication with the spouse can cause them issues, things like that. So again, you know, important to work that out, because this is like how people see you, you know, in it's your public image in a sense. So that's very important. And Moon obviously doesn't do well in Gemini, you know, in Mercury's sign. So it's very important to actually like really be aware of how you communicate, how you are with your friends, things like that, you know. So, and that will really sort that issue out. And then we have Aquarius ascendant, their 6th house is Cancer. So this is like Moon in House of Moon. So it's quite strong, but you really need to make sure you don't have any, you know, you don't have issues with your mum and females, you know, so that kind of thing. And they could have issues, these people, if there was a health issue, it will be more to do with hormones and things like that. And they could get bloated as well, because just the nature of the Moon and Cancer as well. And so so they could be a little bit more sensitive to the Moon phases as well, you know, as it waxes and wanes too. But generally it's good, because obviously Moon is in its own sign, so it's good. It really helps to work with mothers, you know, and nurturing sort of jobs will really help them. Then we have Pisces ascendant. So for them, Leo becomes their 6th house, and it's so Moon is friendly with the Sun. So when Moon is in their 6th house, it just means that they could have some discord and issues with children, students, investments, stocks and shares, things like that, education. But because it's in good way, it will actually be okay. It's also actually, if you have this, your mom could be from like be quite noble in her ways. You know, she'll have like somewhat a presence about her as well. So that's it, folks. That was quite a long video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you